Hey guys, welcome back to the Makefile series. Today we're going to be discussing automatic variables. Now, I know we haven't discussed variables at all, let alone automatic variables, but I'm going to assume that you know what a variable is from other programming languages, so I'll focus a bit more on the automatic part of automatic variables. If you've heard about things like make command goals or make file list, maybe even vpath, those are called special variables. That's something else. It's not automatic variables. Maybe we'll do that in a future video, but not right now. Right now, we're focusing on automatic variables, which are variables that are set in the body or in the recipe of a rule. So these four things here you see on the screen, these are automatic variables. This is not an exhaustive list. There's a few more down below, and there are more in the documentation. But let's start off with these. So first off, let me run this makefile and let me build target over here. And we see this being printed, and the target name is target for from $at. So if you ever want to dynamically figure out what the target name is in your recipe, which you should be doing, you can use $at. If you want your first prerequisite, and there are use cases for that, which we'll get into, especially with C, C++ projects, you can do $less than, which I think about as $left because it's the leftmost prerequisite in your prerequisite list. We'll get into a bit more of those details in a moment. If you want your unique prerequisites, this is $caret or $up, I like to call it, because you can look up and you'll see the prerequisite list. And finally, if you want your duplicated prerequisites, you can do $+. So the unique prerequisites, as we discussed before, these are prerequisites that get added to the target with the duplicates removed. So if you have a number of rules with the same target and you add a different prerequisite each time, those prerequisites, they get added to the end of the prerequisite list. So in this case, when we evaluate these four rules over here, what happens is that this is chosen to be the main rule because this has the recipe that we're going to run. The others, they get their prerequisites appended to the end of it in the order that they're declared. So this is actually the order that we see down here when we look at the duplicated prereqs list. Prereq 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And if we remove the duplicates, if we only look at the unique ones, this last one gets erased. So there's nothing over here, and we just have 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I mentioned, the first one is always this first over here. Now, moving on, we also have, I call them wildcard targets, or I think the official term is pattern rules. These are rules that have a wildcard in them, so they dynamically match something new. So we have hello-Asia is the classic example I'll be using. And we can also have Africa. So in these two cases, we can see that the target name over here is dynamically updated to match whatever rule is running. And we can even do them back to back. So hello Africa, hello Asia. They don't conflict. Everything works as you expected. And we also have the stem. So if you ever need just the part that matched this wildcard, you can get that with the $* for the stem. The target name is also useful if you have a rule that instead of a wildcard, it just has multiple targets to it. That will also work. So let's give that a shot, and I'll just do Africa and Asia. And here we can see, that's also just another valid use case. Now, finally, to get the directory or the file name part of these automatic variables, you can add a D or an F afterwards. So we discussed the $at being the target. You can add a D to get the directory of the target, or F to get the file of the target. And let's give that a shot. So the rule name here is dir1, dir2, and file1.txt. So the directory of the rule of the target is dir1, dir2. The file name is file1.txt from here. And the same thing for the prerequisites. So $caret or $up. The directory is going to be dir1, dir2, and again dir1, dir2, and again dir1, dir2. So the same thing repeated. And the file name is going to be file2.txt, file3.txt, and dir3. So notice this part is important. The file name doesn't have to be a file in the non-technical sense of the word. It's just the last part of this. Maybe I can call it a slash. Yeah, just the last part after the last slash. You can also do this. I just did it for the $@ and $caret, but this is valid for all of the other automatic variables as well. There are some more variables. I didn't go into all of them, but these are by far the most commonly used ones, and they are the ones you should kind of memorize. So if you're ever writing a recipe, even if it's a recipe for a very specific target, if there's no dynamically figured out part at all, if everything is static, if you know what it is, even in those cases, you should try to use these variables just in case something changes in the future. And it's best practice. It saves you from typos. It saves you from bugs. It's the right thing to do. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.